Welcome to East by West Farms. Here we grow what we eat and eat what we grow. Today we're going to fix the greenhouse. We bought this cheap greenhouse from Amazon last winter, and we did all the reinforcement and all that. It survived the historic ice storm we have. We had lots of wind, and it was okay. In summer, of course, we took the top off. We were planning for this weekend, to put the top back on and put the rope on top of it. But we got like extremely windy days for 2 days on Thursday and the Friday. You would think that with just the frame, you don't have a lot of wind load. But I come back and the greenhouse collapsed. Some of the pole even snapped. Typically, you would say, oh, that's a waste that we got 1 year use of it and then it broke. But we're kind of like engineers, so we think we can fix this. So let's see if we will be able to put this back to its original shape. The first thing, of course, we need to take the shade cloth off. This shade cloth shouldn't catch much wind. It's a 40% shade cloth, but anyhow, it collapsed. So we'll take the shade cloth off, and then we'll pop it back up and check to see which member that is broke. And then we probably will just use some of the ash juniper branches that we already cut for trellis stuff and use that as a reinforcement and splice it on. So we put the top on and put the rope on. Seems the rope really helped to maintain the stability of the greenhouse. We were planning to put shelf inside the greenhouse. If we had done that, that probably will keep the greenhouse from collapsing. But just like everything else in life, we didn't have time to do it. And then now we have a big mess to deal with. Hopefully this winter we'll have more time to build some shelf inside the greenhouse to pop it, make it more sturdy. That seems to be the problem. You can see that this gets snapped off, and probably that started the whole chain reaction and collapsed the whole thing. So what I'm going to do is use this rebar, this half-inch rebar, so it still have some flexibility if we need to bend it. I use the rebar to splice these two vertical bars together. Whoa, there's a big spider crawl up my arm. I can tie it like this and then tie the rebar to the horizontal bar and then get this one and tie to that.
We patched up the greenhouse. We're using juniper sticks and steel wire. It's a lot sturdier than it's been before. We left a run of hardware cloth here on the top to give it somewhat more support before I put on the tarp. Minor challenges I had with the hardware cloth. The hardware cloth is just a little bit too short. That's because we wrapped it around the support on the other side, so I'm missing just about that much, 5-6 centimeters. I have some sharp edges sticking out that I need to bend over so that I don't damage the tarp when I put it on. I think it's coming along pretty nicely. The next step is to put on the tarp. We had the tarp in storage in the barn. Now, putting on the tarp on the greenhouse is really a two-person job. Unfortunately, Haiying was busy at this time, so I had to do that on myself. I was lucky that the wind stopped blowing. The first time I put the tarp on, it happened to be the wrong way around, so meaning the inside was out. So I had to take it off, put it back on. The wind picked up a little bit. After finagling around a bit with it for a while, I finally was able to put the tarp on. I tied it down with string. So if I would have to do it again, I would definitely ask for help. I would see if somebody can be giving me a hand. That would really cut down the time of putting the tarp on quite a bit.
Here's what it looks like inside the greenhouse. Basically, we use these ash juniper branches that kind of build a frame in the middle to pop it up, and also have some horizontal section to provide more lateral support. I still need to build a few more so that make the greenhouse much more sturdier. Right now is almost November, and there are not a whole lot of things growing in the greenhouse because the chicken like to come here and scratch things. So now we can fence it off from the chicken. So we still have some turmerics and ginger, and down there I have some papaya plants that sprouted from seeds. I will transplant some tomato stuff that are self-seeded in the garden. I transplant them here, and hopefully they can produce some tomatoes in winter for us. Our original idea of buying this cheap greenhouse is to learn how greenhouse works, planting inside the greenhouse, and also see whether the wind here in Texas, we got huge wind, whether the wind will cause a problem. We have learned quite a lot from this. I think this should work as long as we provide enough support. And we start experimenting using these ash juniper branches because construction material is so expensive, and we don't have big trees, but we do have a lot of ash juniper that is kind of considered junk trees. We're trying to make use of it, and we figure out that actually it's pretty good to use this to build trellises. After this, I think we can actually build a greenhouse using the ash juniper branches. That's probably will be our next experiment. Well, we did it. We built the greenhouse back, And it's better than previous one. It's much more sturdy, and we also changed the door direction because we have the barn on this side, and during the ice storm last year we noticed that this end is much warmer than that end, so we moved the door to the other side so we can plant stuff near this end. This is our first Build Back Better project. We are definitely more efficient than Congress. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumb up. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it down below. If you have not done so, please hit the subscribe button to follow our journey with the East by West Farms.